In 3, 2. Hello, you are listening to Finding My Way, a podcast where we interview students and faculty of various disciplines to help prospective students learn more about the fields that they are interested in. Today, we'll be covering business administration, a Bachelor of Science degree offered by the Marshall School of Business, known worldwide for its prestige and ability to prepare students for the next step. Joining us today is Summer Zamiska, a rising sophomore at USC studying business administration from Newport Beach, California. Summer, thank you so much for coming out today.
Of course. Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talk a little bit more about what Marshall and World Bachelor in Business has to offer.
I'm excited, and I think everybody else is excited to hear it too. Now, I did say that Summer is obtaining a business administration degree, but there is a little bit of a twist. As opposed to the normal business administration degree, Summer is a part of the World Bachelor in Business program. Summer, why don't you explain to us what makes this program so special?
Yeah, of course. So this is actually a program through 3 different schools. So the first one is, of course, USC through USC Marshall. The other one is HKUST, which is Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. And the third school involved is Bocconi University, that's located in Milan, Italy. So what's super interesting and unique about this program is it gives business students the opportunity to take a year at each university and just kind of experience the cultural side of business as well. So not just taking classes there, but also by being in another country, the focus is really on cultural immersion and teaching their students how important it is to really understand the cultural side of business as well, because there's so much to offer where that comes from. And then the 4th year, you actually get to choose between the 3 of which one you want to go to. So you finish off the program ending up with 3 bachelor's degrees, 1 from each school. Which is amazing. It's definitely pretty difficult because you have to take a little bit more credits than the average USC Marshall student. But honestly, I think the opportunities are so unmatched. And going into my sophomore year, I'm just really excited to start traveling and start taking classes abroad and figuring that out. So yeah, that's a little bit about World Bachelor in Business.
I love it though. It sounds incredibly interesting. How does it work though? So you said you get 3 different degrees. Is it just one from each university?
Yeah. So you get a bachelor degree in business administration from each school. So how it's set up is each university works together. So when you apply, you actually apply to all 3 schools. And of course, they each have to accept you, but each year you meet a certain amount of prerequisites to graduate. So for example, I was a freshman last semester and I had to take microeconomics, which is traditionally a junior class that you take your junior year in Marshall. But because this program is a little bit sped up because you do have to meet those graduation requirements through each year, I did have to take that class. Another class I had to take was, I had to go straight from writing 150 first semester right into writing 340 my second semester, which is, traditionally a senior class or a junior class. But it's really amazing because what I love about USC is they offer so much support for that. So even though it does seem scary, if it's something that you're really passionate about and you want to work hard for it, then they're going to help you get there. I've been super, super fortunate with the opportunities they've given me in terms of tutoring. I struggled a little bit in math last semester, but because USC is amazing, they offered free tutoring. I had a personalized tutor that helped me along the way, and I ended up passing the class. And it's just amazing. So even though it is a bit tricky and World Bachelor in Business is definitely a different breed, I think it's so worth it. And if you work hard for it and it's something that you want to do, it's definitely worth it. For sure. Let
me ask you this, because I do think this is something very special. Were there other schools that were also offering some kind of program like this, or is this kind of specific to USC?
You know what? No, not that I've seen anything like it. Of course, you can study abroad anywhere, and most universities offer study abroad programs. But what's so unique about World Bachelor in Business is you get to fully be at that school. So I get to fully be at Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and I get to fully be at Bocconi my junior year. So I'm a student there. I'm going to get a degree there. I'm going to study there. I'm going to take classes with, all of those international students. Like I am at that school versus a study abroad. It's more of like, you're still at USC or you're still at your school, but you're just in a different place. But that's what's so unique about World Bachelor in Business is you get to take classes from their professors and you get to collaborate with their students, with students that, may be going to those schools all 4 years. And, it is a little bit of imposter syndrome sometimes, I would imagine, but of course I haven't been to Hong Kong yet. I'm so excited to go, but I can imagine how that would feel just being there for 1 year. But I think that just from what I've experienced at USC, the way that they try to incorporate their students into not only just the classes, but the culture and the student life, it's really amazing. And they try really hard to make all their students feel welcome.
And how do they do that? How do they mix in the culture to the student life of like what you're learning and applying it to that?
That's a really good question. So there's specialized classes that we take. We took one at USC because of course USC is, I'm from California, so it wasn't that much of a stretch for me, but a lot of the people in my program are from international countries. So that's a big step for them too, is coming all the way to LA. One of my best friends is from Italy, and that was a big move for her because she's never lived anywhere other than Italy. So her coming to LA to do World Bachelor in Business was a huge step. But the way that Marshall and World Bachelor in Business sets it up is we have specialized classes just for us. Okay. So it really bonds us as a cohort together. But of course, they want us to be involved in student life outside of World Bachelor in Business. So they just offer so many opportunities to us. We get all the opportunities that the regular Marshall kids get. In terms of being able to join clubs, like Consulting Club is a very popular club that people in my cohort decide to be a part of. And really just, even just simply living with other students that aren't in World Bachelor in Business and being able to make friends in other classes and just meet other Marshall students and meet other, STEM students. Really, it's amazing. So we have classes just for us too. We have a class just for us as a cohort to get close, but we also have classes with everyone else. And that I would say is the best part about how USC in particular incorporates us into their student life and makes us feel more welcome and a part of the school, so we can eliminate that bit of imposter syndrome.
Yeah, it's like the most important thing if you actually have a community of people going through the same thing with you, I believe they're going to be going with you to each of these different countries, right?
Yes. Okay. So we all travel together as a cohort. There's about 45 of us, 50 of us.
Okay.
Yes. Mostly women. So yay, women in STEM. But yeah, we're traveling together to each of the 3 universities. And then the 4th year, of course, we all go our separate ways because that's when we get to choose where we want to finish off our senior year.
And a big question I have for this is most of my friends that are pursuing some sort of business degree, a big thing for that are the internships that you can get. How does that work if you're going to different countries? Yes.
So actually what's so great about World Bachelor in Business is the internship rate after graduation is 100%. So all of the students who graduate from this program get set up with internships. And really, it's just about the networking that this program provides. A lot of students will choose to do internships their sophomore or junior year. I haven't necessarily been super serious about looking into internships myself. I'm just getting ready for my move and I'm still exploring what I want to do with my degrees. But I have a lot of close friends who are already interning with, they're doing marketing internships and consulting internships even. And it's just really cool to see my peers put themselves out there. I think is what's such an early age. We're still freshmen going to sophomore year and still doing that. But that anyways, I'm going on a bit of a tangent.
No, because I think this is so unique. There's nothing like this out there, or everybody wants to hear more about it.
Definitely. Well, in terms of graduation and internships after graduation, 100% intern, like that's unheard of. That's crazy. But when they say that, they really mean it, just because USC in particular, I've noticed stresses a lot of importance on LinkedIn. And when you have that LinkedIn, you get to connect with people that are, not just from USC, but from these other universities as well. So it's like, you could be applying for a job with someone who graduated from USC Marshall, but you could also apply for jobs, and have a connection with an employer that went to HKUST or Bocconi, because you have all three schools under your belt. Mm-hmm. It just offers more opportunities to network and make those connections that way. So, it's really great because each of the schools, USC, I know firsthand, but of course I haven't been to the other two yet, but from what I understand, they really, really hook us up with internships. So with opportunities, of course. So
that's incredibly really special. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, and let's backtrack a little bit to the actual business administration degree. Did you go into USC knowing that's what you wanted to do, or did you have to find it through your route?
To be honest, this is a bit of a controversial opinion, but I actually wanted to go to UCLA.
Wow. I think we have to end the podcast right now.
I'm sorry. But you know what? I am so glad I came to USC because business was something that I've always wanted to do. And like you mentioned before, USC Marshall is just world renowned for business alone. And, when you throw on the World Bachelor in Business on top of that and getting the opportunity to go to two different schools, two different countries is just unmatched. It's just an incredible opportunity. And I always knew I wanted to do marketing or something along those lines because me personally, I also love public speaking. I love public relations, but I don't really know specifically what I really want to do yet. But honestly, I'm super open-minded, and I think that's super great because I think as I travel and take more classes and explore what I like, I think that's going to really filter what I want to do and what internships I'm going to be looking at. But yeah, in terms of business administration, I didn't know that I wanted to do that because I thought this was my intention. I thought I was going to go into business administration with more of like a marketing or a communications focus, but actually business administration is a lot of math. And I think that's something that students don't understand and don't realize. And that's something that I never knew until I got to USC and I started taking classes, which is why I'm so grateful. It's now officially STEM certified, which is so amazing. I never thought I'd be a woman in STEM. It's just cool. But yeah, it's definitely very math heavy. I've already taken 3 math classes. I'm taking a summer class, so I've already taken 3. Oh. And, upcoming, I'm going to be taking, macroeconomics, following microeconomics, and a lot of accounting classes. So that's something that I think students should really understand before applying for business administration is how math heavy it truly is.
And is that dependent on what emphasis you decide to take with it? Because I believe what are the different emphases again? Is it cinematic arts, CS, real estate, and IR maybe? IR,
yeah, well, so IR is actually, I don't believe that's a part of Marshall. I think international relations is a part of Annenberg, yes. But Marshall, I'm not super sure about cinematic arts. I haven't really focused a lot on that, but all I know is business administration specifically, because when I think of USC Marshall, I think of business administration, that's the Marshall degree. I think, but I'm a little biased because that's my degree, but that it is definitely very math heavy. I know I have a good friend, Sophia Lyman, she studies international relations, and she's so wonderful, so talented. But I know a lot of her classes are very much writing based and speaking based versus business administration is very math heavy. I still haven't taken a public speaking course, or I've taken, marketing basics. I've taken some writing classes, which has been very helpful, but math is definitely, it's one of my struggles. Mm-hmm. So working on that has actually been a really great opportunity for me to work on it. So, but yeah, that's something that I didn't know before applying, and now I do know. And I wish I knew that before I apply. I don't think it would change anything, but I think it's definitely important for students to understand.
Okay. And so once you not get the business administration degree, but when you're studying it, are you studying it just as a major in a whole, or how it relates to other different fields? So like maybe the business administration of cinematography, what goes into that versus the administration, what goes into real estate?
Right. So in terms of business administration at USC Marshall, that's a bit different from World Bachelor in Business. And I'll tell you why. It's because World Bachelor in Business really, really pushes you to go into either consulting or investment banking. So those are kind of the two paths that they really try to filter. Of course, you can do anything, but those are the two fields that World Bachelor in Business really pushes their students to do. Even, last semester, I got the opportunity to take on a real consulting project, which is something that I've never done before and experienced. But I got to work with an organization in Peru called Lima Como Vamos, and we helped develop their marketing strategy for their nonprofit. And it was an amazing experience because it was real, and I think that's something that that's something special that World Bachelor in Business offered us was that class. And I learned so much from that. And I think looking at those career paths versus, if you were to just do USC Marshall Business Administration, I think you can do anything with either degree. But when it comes to World Bachelor in Business, of course, the emphasis, the reason why we're traveling is so we can be worldly, diverse in that sense of understanding how different businesses work in different cultures.
Yeah. Not only that, also how to communicate with different people, different skills from different cultures, how to get them to work with you. I think those are all incredible skills that you can develop through this.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. You're super right. But yeah, I would say I don't know if I answered your question, but I would say that's the difference really, is how focused World Bachelor in Business really pushes you to, go that international level, if that's something that you're interested in, which I think is really cool.
I think so too. I wish my major allowed me to go to different countries and see how it applies. Yeah. Let me ask you this, because I know you're going to be going to Hong Kong, so everything is going to be completely different once you go there. But for now, what did a typical day look like for you over this past semester?
So honestly, just very, very busy with classes. I would get up at, a pretty normal time. Sometimes my roommate would wake me up earlier because she was on the rowing team. She would wake up at like 4 a.m, and I would still be asleep, but I would wake up, go to my classes. I would have about 2 classes a day on average. Of course it changed, but what I loved about USC specifically is how many spaces there had available to study. You could study outside, you could study in, there's so many libraries, so many study spaces, so many beautiful buildings that you got to go inside of, and just really going to class, eating lunch with my friends, of course, was always fun. If I had an exam or test, I would just, grab my food and go up to my dorm and just grind it out and study for that exam. But a typical day, I would just wake up, go to class, get some food, maybe go to tutoring, hang out with friends, and then, try to go to sleep early. But of course, that never happened. Okay. But definitely a lot of studying for sure. Because like I said before, we take an extra class. So we actually take 5 classes per semester versus the typical 4. But again, that's part of the program. And if it's what you want to do, I would recommend it to anyone, because I think this opportunity is just so unmatched to anything. So all the studying and all the working hard is definitely worth it.
And the work life was manageable, right?
It was manageable. Okay. Yeah. And then I also, I'm also a part-time, I'm an actress, so I try to audition when I can. And I even had time to fit in my auditions as well, which was really, really cool. So I was also able to pursue other things, while also study. So I think for other students coming in, it's, they can understand that they can also have, if they want to have an on-campus job, or if they even want to do an internship, it's super manageable.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And best place to do it is in LA if you want to go out, explore the arts.
Oh, definitely. Of course. Then of course on the weekends, I would hang out with my friends, and we would do fun stuff, go and see everyone at Lorenzo. And it's just a really, really fun time. And I really appreciate USC because they allow for both. The focus isn't just, on school, put your head down and study, and that's all you do. It's very, very balanced. You can work hard, but also still enjoy your city and enjoy where you are. And I think that's something that I'm really excited to experience too when I go abroad as well.
Yeah, because you're going to be developing as a human being as opposed to just developing like, oh, I know how to read this. I know how to study really hard. Those are incredible skills, don't get me wrong, but developing as an overall person, interacting with people of different cultures, I think that's on a completely different level.
Right. And that's another thing too that World Bachelor Business, I forgot to mention, caters to is we do take a number of classes that focus on, what does business look like in Asia? What does business look like in Italy, as opposed to the US? And we take cultural business classes, which is something that I've never heard of. And I'm so excited to take because I think there's so much to learn about that, especially in a cohort that's so diverse. I think I'm the only white girl from California that I know of, but which is so cool. It's just so awesome that everyone is so different and everyone has something to learn. Everyone has something to learn when it comes to those things. And I think that's just going to make us better business people, because if you understand your market and you understand your clients, you can be a better salesperson. You can be a better consultant. You can be a better investment banker, all of those things.
Love it. I'm in love. I'm like, why didn't I choose this?
What's so funny is I didn't even know this program existed until I saw the application, which is probably something I shouldn't be admitting on the podcast, but I'm already in the program.
So what kind of information was out there beforehand?
You know what? Not too much. I didn't think. I had no idea about World Bachelor Business. And I think that's something that honestly USC Marshall should do more of is make this program more known, because I had no idea about it. Like I said, until I saw the application, I didn't even really understand what the program was. I just, researched it a little bit and applied. And when I got my acceptance box, they sent us a package. I was in tears. I just cried because I was so excited. And I was just so happy and grateful that I got this opportunity to, because like I said, I feel like I'm a broken record, but it's an unmatched opportunity. It's amazing.
It really is.
I will never be able to do anything like this in my life ever again. Just to be able to travel and really be immersed in another country, another school, another lifestyle. It's incredible. But yeah, I really wish USC Marshall would advertise it a little bit more, because I had no idea. I really had no idea about it.
Let me ask you this then. What were some of the misconceptions and everything that you had going into it, or like now you can think about?
Well, at first I thought that it was, a study abroad type program where, you had the option to go to those schools if you wanted to. I wish there was more I wish it was more explained that it's an opportunity to get an education from those specific schools and how that's different from the traditional college experience in America. Because you get to experience both. You get to experience all of it. And, I thought, if I wanted to, I could go there, but it's like, no, like you're going, like if you're signing up for this program, you are going. But you know what? At the same time, you're not tied to it. Like there was a student in my cohort that came to USC and decided, you know what, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to finish off USC all 4 years, which is totally fine. And honestly, I think should be celebrated because, again, I think as we go through this program, we're experiencing more about what we really want to do, and good for him for choosing USC. But I love that USC gives students the option to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's, if they don't want to travel, like, why force someone to do that when they don't want to? And if they find a home at USC, like, let them be at USC. They got into the school, so
nothing to do it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Let me ask you this. With this degree, do most people just go and start working right afterwards? Like, I know you said the internship was 100% rate, or do most people go out and get some sort of MBA or other higher level degree in order to get jobs?
You know what? From the alumni that I've met, most alumni go straight into the workforce,
Really?
which is pretty amazing. I know a lot of my peers they've already expressed to me that they want to study an MBA, and I'm sure there are plenty of World Bachelor in Business alumni that are pursuing an MBA, but from all of the alumni that I'm close with and that I've gotten to meet, a lot of them are just go straight into the workforce because this program sets them up to do that. Sets them up with opportunities, interviews, and like I had a mentor, her name is Jenny Lee, and she graduated last year, or this year. And she is working. She has a full big girl job in LA after she graduated, and she doesn't have any plans, I don't believe, of pursuing an MBA, but she's set,
Wow.
which I think is really awesome. And that's not really something you can say about a lot of programs is, it's not just about the education, it's about the network. It's about the people that you meet and the opportunities that they can set you up with. It's just incredible. It's really amazing. And I couldn't be more grateful to be a part of it. So
yeah, for multiple reasons. And then because one, it's teaching you how to get jobs in other countries too, because you're getting all that experience. So that degree holds a higher significance rather than it was just a degree from the US. But then two, are the salaries competitive as well? What are those like?
You know what? The salaries definitely depend on what field you want to go into study. So of course, if you want to do consulting or investment banking, the average starting salary would probably be, it would be pretty high. It would be like in, the 60s or 70s. If you're going, if you're in the 25th percentile, even it's pretty high. But, if you want to go into something, like marketing or, I don't know, maybe like sales, and you're starting out at a company, this I would guess the starting salary would probably be around 40. But
is
again,
that 40,000 or 140?
Oh, probably 40. And then you would work your way up. But yeah, but if you want to go into consulting, investment banking, those are the money makers, I feel like, in the industry. They can get up to I was researching it earlier, they can get up to like, 150 a year. So it's if you're a top tier investment banker, top tier consultant, and it really, I don't know if I can answer that question because it really does depend on what you want to do. And of course there's no wrong path, there's no wrong career choice. But again, World Bachelor in Business does emphasize, consulting or investment banking, which I think is cool because, to be honest, I didn't even know what consulting and investment banking was when I first got to USC. I don't
really know that much about investment banking, if you want to shed some light.
Yeah, well, investment banking, I have a lot more experience in consulting because I took that, that class last semester that WBB offered us. But investment banking is, again, it's a lot more accounting focused. So, which again, we take a lot of accounting classes. So if math is your jam and you really want to get into that, investment banking is a great opportunity. But again, I don't know a lot about investment banking still either because I've never done investment banking. Sorry, I'm blanking.
No,
I've never done an
investment
banking internship.
Yeah, no, that's
the word internship. Fair. Sorry, or a class. But that is, again, that's what's so great about this program is I'm going to get the opportunity to do that. And I'm going to get the opportunity to explore what investment banking and consulting can look like on an international scale. So the possibilities are just huge, which I'm super excited for.
The world's going to be your oyster.
Thank you, Pedro. I'm hopefully we'll see.
Let me ask you this. What are the actual classes like? Are they more lecture heavy, discussion based? What's the general trend that you felt?
So it definitely depends on the school. So from my understanding, USC, it depends on the class and the school, but USC was pretty discussion based, from what I've experienced. Again, a lot of the classes you take your freshman year are general ed classes. Because again, at the end of the day, if you want all 3 degrees, you have to meet those prerequisites. You have to, take those graduation requirements within your first year. So, yeah, I would say a lot of my classes for those were pretty discussion based, quite a lot of lectures, but when I know Hong Kong is very lecture heavy, where and Bocconi is, I believe, all lecture heavy. And what's super interesting too about those schools is Hong Kong, most of your grade is dependent on your test score. And then in Bocconi, 100% of your grade is your test score. So it's just kind of that difference of what standards each school has for education. I'm not going to lie, that made me really nervous. And I want to reassure anyone listening to this podcast that's thinking about this program, don't let that scare you, because I am a very anxious person. I have very, very bad test anxiety, and that really made me nervous. But it's really important to look at it as as an opportunity. Be like, hey, I'm at USC now, and I can, work on, everyone has their struggles, right? I can work on my testing. I can work on my study habits, and I'm going to be successful. And if you just keep telling yourself that I'm going to be successful, it's going to be an amazing opportunity. It's going to be great. So that's something that I'm still in the process of working on. But again, what's so great about USC is this program is how forgiving everyone is. It's not like you fail a class, you're out of the institution. It's not like that, which I think is great, because, learning is changing and different styles of teaching is changing, and it's different, of course, internationally. So being able to experience that is going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I don't want to go on a tangent on something else, but I think there's something incredibly beautiful and unique about failing, where you learn more from it.
Right.
Like, if you don't fail, you're doing something wrong. You gotta fall down. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm going to be super honest here. I failed a class my first semester at USC. And it was so frustrating because I worked so hard. I would go to tutoring for hours and hours a day. Mm-hmm. And I still did not pass that class. And yeah, it was a little discouraging, because I think everyone at USC is pretty educationally driven and focused. And I've actually never failed a class before in high school, as I'm sure you probably have never failed a class either. I feel like most people at USC haven't, but getting your first failure of a class, it's a bummer, but being able to come back to that class second semester and passing it with a grade that I was proud of is amazing. And like I said, USC has been so great with that, for offering services, checking in up on you, seeing how you're doing. There's scholarships you can apply for if financially that's an issue. They have hey, apply for this scholarship, we'd love to help you out. It's just so amazing, because it's almost like once you're accepted into the USC community, they just do nothing but help bring you up. Even if you're failing, even if you feel like you're not good enough, they do nothing but give you support and help. And that's something that I am just so grateful for. Yeah. And I'm really excited to keep up with in my educational journey.
It's a wonderful thing when you have an institution behind you that I don't want to say is encouraging you to do poorly or anything like that, but that they have your back through it, and that they're not going to kick you out. They're like, no, hey, it's a learning experience. Learn, grow as a person.
Absolutely.
Get better the second time. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what makes you, like you were saying before, there's something so beautiful about that. It makes you a better person and a better student. And even my mom was laughing and joking about it. She was like, Summer, you've never failed anything. I'm kind of glad you failed this class. I'm like, why would you say that? And she was like, well, you learn. And you know what? I did learn, and I did. And because I was a little bit behind and I failed that class. I had to retake it. I'm now taking microeconomics this summer, and I was supposed to take it last semester. I think I mentioned before. But I'm taking it this summer, and the opportunities that have been presented to me, even in the summer, the, tutoring opportunities, extra help, it's just incredible. USC is something that I just never imagined how incredible being here would be. I just never imagined how amazing the support system would be and how incredible the professors are. They're just so kind, and they just want nothing but the best for you. And that's something that I never thought I would get. I never thought I would experience here. So really grateful for that.
Yeah, shout out to USC. Thank you guys.
Yeah, seriously. I don't think UCLA can offer that, but
I like the sound of that. Let me ask you. So as far as the actual classes go, what are some of the major themes that you guys have to deal with? And is it like related to real world problems going on and real world examples?
Are you talking about the classes?
Classes, yeah, because you said they're very discussion based, right? So these discussions that you guys are having, are they on real world issues, how they kind of connect to what you're learning, or what are they on?
So last year, most of my classes were, again, the USC prerequisites to graduate. So, it was the basic, GED classes and GEE classes, those basic science classes, those writing classes.
For everybody that doesn't know real fast, the GE classes are classes everybody has to take as base classes just to graduate that might be outside of your field of interest. You just have to take them. Right.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah. But I would say, other than those classes, something that was the class, the really cool discussion-based class that I got to take was actually my GSEM class, my general seminar class, that was offered through USC. So everyone of all majors took that class with me. And that was really cool because that was all discussion-based. Mm-hmm. And I took it on American subcultures. And I would say that was my favorite class, other than my consulting class, of course, which I loved. That was, a special World Bachelor in Business class. But that class was awesome just because there's so many options and choices you can take when it comes to your GSEM. And you take that, I believe, your freshman year at USC. But that was super cool because you talked about how historically, and this isn't necessarily related to business, but how historically, these American subcultures developed and how they connect to what the subculture is today. And just being able to say that was really cool. But in terms of my seminar classes for business, my consulting class, I keep bringing that up. It was called GSI, Global Social Impact. Amazing class. I learned probably the most from that class. But again, because they threw us in, quite literally, we worked on a real consulting case project with an organization in Peru, and we met up with their representatives and their head of marketing and their head of sales and, head of social media. And we wrote up a business plan for them. And we wrote up we researched and we talked and we communicated. And it was very much like the type of learning where it's, this is what the real world is, and you're going to figure it out, and you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to but that's what's going to make you grow. And that's what's going to make you be a better consultant. If you do want to go into consulting, this is what it's like. And that was, of course, very discussion based because I had a group with me, amazing group. I think we did a great job, but that was, of course, all discussion and research, because you have to communicate with your group in order to, get your business write-up plan for them. But that was a great experience that I got to have. So I would say that was probably the most discussion based in terms of relating to the real world and what your real career might potentially look like after graduating from USC.
And that's such a great thing because you get that work experience and you can kind of realize, hey, is this something I really enjoy doing and want to follow up with after I get the major or not? And I think that definitely did. It shows you. Let me ask you this, because I'm hearing so many great things about this major, but I think it's only fair if we show some of the lowlights. If you had like a magic wand and you could change one thing about this major, what would you want to do? Or this whole experience, include the World Bachelor as well.
That is a hard question. That's a hard question. I don't think I would necessarily change anything about it, but I will mention
improve.
Some of the downsides too, as well. You have to be prepared to leave the friends that you've made, which of course is always a bummer. My best friend in the whole world was my roommate, Irene Brown. Love her. She was my roommate last year. And I'm just going to miss her so much. But that I would say is the hardest thing is, and I know some girls in my program who joined a sorority. And so, they're going to have to leave their sorority sisters. But, again, there's the opportunity of that's what's great about it. Again, though, is your fourth year, you get to come back if you want to. So even though it's not the end of the world, but I would say that's the biggest downside is having to leave your friends. Another thing that is a bit difficult about this major is, again, just the extra workload. I felt that, even though business administration, it's, even though it's not pre-med, it's not biology, it's not, what have you, it's still very, very difficult just because you do have those extra credits that World Bachelor in Business requires. You do have to take that extra class. You do have to go that extra step in your studies, but which can be hard and discouraging. Like I said, it was very discouraging when I failed that class last semester and I was trying so hard and still didn't succeed. Again, you have to take the lows with the highs. It's like I failed that class, but again, I came back second semester better than ever. And I got the help that I needed. And I got more than enough help that I needed from USC. And just if you have a good work ethic and you really want to travel and you really want to do this program, it's so worth it. So yeah, it can be hard. And, I did have to miss out on a lot of events and going out with friends, but at the end of the day, it's so worth it. And if you want to put in the work and you want to travel, it's just worth it. Yeah. I feel like it's like a broken record a little bit, but that's the best I can explain it to be. It's just incredible.
Yeah. Let me ask this as a final closing question.
Yes.
If you could give advice to someone out there who, one, is unsure about what major to choose, and two, someone who is just starting to study your major, what kind of advice would you give them?
That's a really good question. I would say pinpoint something that you love and see what major you're interested in. You don't even have to love every aspect. Like I said, I think that's a really big misconception is people think I'm going to do this major and I'm going to love every aspect. And that's just not the truth. Mm-hmm. Every single major, there's going to be something that you're not going to want to study. You're going to take some classes that you don't like. Again, like I said, I'm not a very math heavy person. I'm just, I'm not the best at it, but that's something that I know if I study and I learn more about it, I can get better at it. And I think my biggest piece of advice would be, so pinpoint something you love. So I love people. I love communicating. I love talking. I love public speaking. I love working with people and making deals. And to me, business administration, when I looked at that major, that gave me the most room to explore those things that I love, because there's so many things I could do with that degree. Same with a major like international relations or communications. If you love, because I think all those things that I said too, I could also just as easily have majored in international relations or communications. Mm-hmm. But I think what really attracted me to business administration is because of how focused it really is on the more technical side of things versus the social side of things. Does that make sense?
Maybe you can elaborate a little bit.
Okay, yes. So, not as much writing classes and more math classes and more, logical classes. If this happens, a lot of accounting classes, a lot of, like I mentioned, I'm taking microeconomics this summer. I have to take macroeconomics next semester. It's a lot more, it's a lot less discussion based. And even though that's something I love, is talking to people and communicating, I felt that if I focused more on the technical side of business, I would be more successful in whatever I wanted to do. But again, it's just a personal preference. And like I said, I just can't emphasize enough, you don't have to love every part of your major. Like, that is such a misconception. But I think that's just going to make you better. Because if you do something you don't like because you think you're not good at it, or you're just scared that you might fail, I think that's even more of a reason to do better. And I feel like I'm the perfect example of that, because I went through that. I did fail a class, and it was that whole realization of, okay, I had moments where I was like, is this the right major for me? I did. But like I said, I think what really pushed me through and solidified that was the support from USC. I had an incredible academic advisor, Sean O'Connell. That man is wonderful. He helped me through every step of the way and encouraged me, offered me opportunities, suggestions, and that really does make a difference. And I think that's what's so great about USC too, is just their support. And if you're unsure, if you want to switch majors, like, they will help you. They will help you figure out what you want to do with your life, and they're just going to help you get there. So yeah, I would say, to conclude, biggest piece of advice, find something that you love. If it's, public speaking or biology, or even something small, like I'm really interested in like specifically selling houses, or whatever it is that you want to do. Find something that you love and pick a major that you feel will give you the most opportunity to not only learn, but it'll give you room to choose what you might want to do for your career. But you don't have to know, of course. I don't even know what I want to do for my career. I'm still figuring it out. So, hey,
we're all out here just trying to find our way. Don't worry about it.
That is true. That is true. And also, of course, and don't give up with it. Don't give up. I think that's really important to understand, is like, you pick a major and you think that you're not good at it, and you think that you're, if everyone else is better than you, because of course I've had so many of those moments where I thought I am the stupidest person in my cohort. But it is amazing what you can do if you just keep pushing hard and keep studying and keep trying and keep exploring what you want to do. You will surprise yourself. I definitely surprised myself, and I genuinely couldn't have done that without the support of USC, truly. So yeah, that's my story.
Great advice from an incredibly talented and intelligent person. Thank you so much for joining us here, Summer, and thank you so much for all the incredible advice and for sharing your story and your experience with us here today.
Thank you for giving me the platform to tell my story and talk a little bit about WBB.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye, Pedro. Thank you.